6 o'clock and time to call the June 26, 2025 board meeting to order. Present, we've got from the staff, Deborah Lashansky. We've got Jeff Vargas filling in for our CFO. We've got Stephanie Swanson, James Roach, Jared Mann, and our manager, Ron Redd, our attorney, Jeff Parker, from the board, Bill Wasserman. Brooke. I stumble on your name every time.
You got 4 more years to learn.
Don Langley and Robert Canaugh. Time for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any unscheduled items of public interest? Seeing none, do we have any changes or additions to the agenda?
We do not.
Any from the board?
No.
None here. Any board comments?
I have a.
Yes, speak up, Don.
Okay. Yeah, I was able to attend the South Metro Water Festival last week, and I thought it was a really good event. It was an inaugural event. It's the first time I think they've done this. Although I thought they did something before the pandemic, but I guess not. I don't know how many people were there. It was at Miller Park in Castle Rock, and the parking lot was full. And that's a pretty big place. And it was not only full, but it was people circulating to get in. So there were hundreds of people that showed up. And it was a really good event. A lot of people having fun. The bubble machine, we need to get that next time because that was the highlight, no doubt about it. But a really good event. I'm glad we were there. We had our booths there, got a chance to talk to people, and I want to encourage South Metro to, there's a few things to learn from what they did this time, but boy, we need to keep pushing that ahead. That's a really good deal. So
Great to hear.
yeah.
Leadership team comments.
All right, I'll get us started. Before it pops up, I wanted to let you all know I sent out the credit card details.
Right.
And I apologize, it took 2 weeks. It didn't actually take 2 weeks to pull that together. But there's a lot of lessons learned. It's time-wise, it's not a lot, but we pulled the credit cards. I think we settled on like $2,500 or $3,000 or higher, and we pulled those. And then of course you had Amazon, and then it's like, okay, what did we buy on Amazon? And there's a lot of conversations back and forth. So it took a while, but I talked with Jeff. We have access to that quicker, so he thinks it's an hour's worth of work, to give you an idea. So it's not a lot of work. It's just a learning curve for this time. But I wanted to make sure what I sent was what you were looking for.
I thought it was good. I thought it's a transparency, right, that we want to see. So it was all there. It was readable. I was hoping it didn't take like a day, but
Well,
yeah,
it did this time, but it won't in the future.
okay, yeah.
So,
I think that meets the request very well.
perfect. Yeah, and we try to find things that are hard to understand, like the ATP analyzer and stuff like that. But feel free to call, ask questions. So, yeah. Okay, here we go. Okay, so if you notice, we're still going down. We went down 216 acre feet, and I checked in with our water resource team. I said, it feels like we must have paid back the river because that's about normal for this time of year, and it's true. So the water that we collected out of priority that ran into the reservoir with all those storms has been paid back to the river, and now we're able to start moving our return flows in. So you'll probably see this for the next month or two, but it's very standard what we've seen in the past. Any questions on that at all? If you notice, we tried to make it a little more readable. So
Just one quick question.
Sure.
Where do we stand with the aeration project?
It is, I don't know. Where are we? Do you know, Stephanie? Alex, where are we at? Do you mind? Go ahead.
Watch it stuff flow downhill.
Got the person here.
Yeah, so it's currently, the design's like almost complete in the next few months, and then we'll start construction in the fall. We'll hire a contractor online to put in the pipeline that goes up the reservoir, and then the actual like subcontractor that lays the pipe in the reservoir will be out in the fall as well. So it'll be active in the fall.
Thank you.
Thanks, Alex. Okay, so something fun. I might have mentioned at the last board meeting, we had our very first 5K on the reservoir, and they call it a dash across the dam. It was very successful. 258 runners showed up out there. It's just some pictures of they call it an after party. We don't allow alcohol, so what they did was give everyone tickets to go somewhere to drink alcohol, and apparently that works just fine, so that was good. My major concerns, we had no problems. I always worry about traffic backing up on Hess. The county did an excellent job of getting the people off, and they'd hired a deputy, so it worked really well. I always worry about safety, especially running on our dam, and no one fell off it, so we call that a success. They had plenty of people up there to watch them, and it was cleaned up really well afterwards. So
Were the damn flies there?
I didn't hear about them. It's funny. One of our what Bill's referring to. We on a tour we took some students out there, and it was like a mayfly hatch or something.
A midge, I think. I don't think
Yeah.
they're mayfly.
You could hear them buzzing over you, and it was absolutely miserable. And one of our new employees got a tour, and he went out there, and so he wants to install, and he grew up in Elbert County, bat boxes out there. So we'll see. It's a cheap, easy way to
Control somebody.
get rid of them.
Yeah.
But no, it went well. Whoops. The what was I going to say? No, all good. It was a great event. Oh, all the feedback was very positive, and I just got a call out Mary Colton, who runs the recreation for town of Parker. Outstanding job, in and out, clean, no problems, great event, and there's a reason why they're nationally recognized. So I'll be sure to thank her for that. So we were all a little worrisome, went well.
I assume they didn't hurt the dam either, right?
No, we're all good. We actually have a picture. You can barely see all these little stick figures running across there. So the next one is an interesting thing that popped up, and mainly I want you to be aware, and if you have any concerns, we haven't done anything yet. I got called by Councilwoman Barrington on Parker Town Council, saying, "Hey, there's a senior affordable housing project. You're going to get a call on. They may want Parker Water to serve them." And then it was the Douglas County Housing Partnership that called, and we had a meeting. And the property they want to buy is, if you're familiar, Jordan and Lincoln, there's a McDonald's right there.
Right.
And if you go a little north of there, there's a coffee shop. And then if you go a little bit more north and you veer to the left, it's a trailer, it's a bank. And that property, it's a double wide trailer, but it's a bank. They want to buy that property, build a 4-story facility. The first floor, part of the first floor would be the bank, and then the rest would be senior affordable housing. And this is a picture of what they were proposing. And so one of the concerns that came up, and I need to talk to Stonegate as well. Stonegate had told them that they could do 10 units of this facility. The housing partnership would like to do somewhere between 60 and 80. And so they're asking us if we had the ability to serve them. And we do. We have infrastructure close to them. They're not on the edge of Stonegate. They're inset just a little bit. And so it'd be a unique, they'd have to de-annex from Stonegate and include with us. And I'm sure it's a lot more complicated than that. But I do need to talk to my contact. Stonegate is surprised that Stonegate can't serve them. So I just need to get that taken care of. I want to let you know it's out there. It's definitely something that we haven't done before. And if there's any concerns, but really what I want to do is turn it over to the attorneys to talk through that. It's probably more of an attorney thing versus a service thing. So that's out there. I just want to make sure you're aware.
Do we have wastewater infrastructure nearby too?
We do, because we serve on the other side of Jordan, I think.
Okay.
Do we? No. Wastewater might be a problem, but we have a water line that runs through there. So it's a lot more complicated. I need to talk to the folks that know what's going on out there. But first things first, I want to make sure Stonegate is truly on board. I believe the people the county is talking to said that, but I'm getting mixed messages from other Stonegate folks. So more to come, but if there's no real concerns, we'll just move forward. Okay? So I'll turn this over to Stephanie.
Thank you. Good evening. Oh, there we go. Just some quick updates on some of the capital projects we have going on. So the Wise pump station that's being built across the street behind the water plant, the schedule for that is to be startup in commissioning in September, and then substantial completion and water to distribution system in October. So that is on schedule and on budget, and we're just moving ahead with that one.
Have you set the pumps?
What's that?
Have you set the pumps?
They haven't been delivered yet.
Oh.
They haven't sent them then.
Well, I want to go see it when they get the pump set.
Installed, but the pumps have not yet.
Holler when they're going in.
Yeah, that'd be fun.
Okay.
If I remember correctly, this will impact the amount of Wise water we can get.
So the Wise water will pass through this, instead of going through the water plant, this will be where the Wise water goes through,
Okay.
off a turnoff off the Ridgegate line.
It does open up the capacity because right now the water plant is a limiting
Okay.
area.
And then the second one is just the Rayada filtration. So this is the last filtration system that is being included in the district after Ritter Hess, Canyons, all those. Right now, we're looking for 100% design to be completed in mid-July, and then construction start pending permitting approvals in September, October of this year, and then completion of construction in December of '26. And so that will, again, complete that filtration conversion for the iron and manganese in the system.
Evening. This is the part of the month when we do some pictures. So starting off, this is the Reuter Hess Profiler. This is used by the laboratory to do water quality testing at different depths throughout the reservoir. We have a new one that'll be coming in 2026, a new profiler, but this is the start of the 2025 testing season. So we've got a couple of photos of this unit. And on board is Tara Lee, Evan, and Mimi. We had our second quarter all operations meeting, which is kind of interesting. We do that every quarter. We get together, an opportunity for all 60 some odd people to get in the same room and discuss what's going on. This time we took some time to do a little project where you get to know your supervisors using Kahoot on the phone, and you would ask questions, trivia questions about the supervisor and see how well you know this person. So it was interesting to learn some of the details behind some of the supervisors.
Are you thinking of using Kahoot on the board by chance?
Great for voting. And this is some photos from the annual flushing that's going on. On the bottom left, you see the impact of the flushing before and after, and that almost looks like motor oil, but it's just very, very dark red, manganese and iron. And then we have some folks working there, and these, just to give you an idea, these are seasonal people that work for the district. The first one is Ken. He's a high school teacher, and the gentleman in the middle is a high school teacher, and he's looking to get into the water industry. And then on the right-hand side is Kurt, is his name, and he's an engineer, and he actually has 4 master's degrees, and is I think he's in between jobs or working on something. Don't know all the history, but just give you some background. And then we have Brittany, who we actually were able to bring here from Emily Griffith Opportunity School, where she is studying water quality management and working during the summer with us. And then on the right is Mark, and Mark is a GIS technician, again, working this summer, kind of in between jobs. But these folks have been instrumental in getting the district flushing going. We've got about 20% done so far. We have enough people that we're actually able to make it to each of the hydrants, not only to flush them, but actually to do the lubrication and make sure everything is working perfectly on these hydrants for the fire department in case of emergency. And you'll see that, let's see, Kurt is sporting a hooded shirt there. That is actually from our safety program. That is a SPF rated shirt that we give our flushing team, and it's got some special cooling things to help these guys because it's been pretty hot out there. But they're doing a great job, and just wanted to share with you what's going on. So thank you.
Question? It's been really quiet about the chlorination program. I mean, is that just like going smooth?
It is going smooth. We do get some calls, but when we talk to people and when they learn about what we're doing, they're understanding for the most part. Most of the people we've talked to have been very supportive, and we've worked through having them flush within their house and see the difference. And one of the supervisors was telling me that they actually had a great conversation with one of our customers about that, and they became interested in what we do as an organization.
That could be good, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
Good evening. Talking to you about the technology services programs. The teams have been hard at work with the computer maintenance management system and the customer information system. We moved on to the next phase of the computer maintenance management system with Brightly. We actually engaged EMA to come back on site, and we're working with our temporary warehouse person, Brock, and our maintenance superintendent, Josh Hollingshead, and his team to go out and do an inventory analysis of all of our remote sites in the district. So we're now going to be bringing things and centralizing them in the warehouse and understanding our inventory. And this is a critical component of the CMMS program, because it's all the parts and pieces that go into repairing, breakdown work for our assets. So we're starting to get all of that inventory together, which is a big milestone for us. On the Spry Point side, they have gone through a couple of iterations of the billing statement, and then they're doing all the billing validation. And a real high point for us is that the team that's been working with us at Spry Point and EMA said we have the highest data validation accuracy they've ever seen by doing those programs at 99.8% accuracy. So kudos to that team that's working on that project. Happy to see that Spry Backflow, that program will be rolled out first here in August, so we're looking forward to having the backflow program be the first module that we move into the new system. And you can see there just a brief look at where we're at in the project process. We still expect to go live with all of the components and modules by the end of this year, so we're looking forward to having those online. Wanted to let you know about a breach that one of our third-party payment processors had. They had a breach of their systems. This is the payment process that our customers use. They discovered this on June 16th and notified us on June 25th. They let us know that only one customer in our district was impacted by this breach. We, when we were notified, submitted a ticket with the payment processor to try to identify who that customer was. We are still looking for that information as they triage the situation. And once we have that information, we will look to try and provide support to that customer and explain kind of what our response is and what the payment processor's response will be moving forward. Next steps for us. No systems internally, none of our systems were penetrated or breached related to this. This was all third party outside of our systems. And as we get more information, we will let you know. All I have.
Hey, Jeff.
I don't have anything special for you. I just got back from vacation, and I think Catherine took care of all your issues while I was gone, so hopefully everything's still going smoothly from the legal front. So hopefully Catherine gave you a good presentation, some training last meeting too. So.
You're on the bubble now, you know that.
What's that?
She did a good enough job, you're on the bubble.
All right, that's good. That's what I want to hear.
She really pulled us through the keyhole. I mean, she was really brutal.
She's tough. Nothing special right now though. Thanks.
Okay, that gets us to approval of the minutes. Does anybody have any changes or additions to the minutes? Seeing none, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a second?
Second.
We got a vote?
Yes.
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 Accounts payable. Are there any unanswered questions on accounts payable? Seeing none, do we have a motion? We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. We have a vote?
Yes.
Yes. Moves us on to financials.
Good evening. Sitting in for Steve this evening. All right, through year-to-date May, operating revenues and capital revenues are trending above our target, above our budget. Operating revenues are $20 million and capital revenues are right under $25 million. Our operating fund expenses sit at $17.2 million. Our capital fund expenses for capital projects are at $9.9 million, and our cash on hand remains strong at a little above $284 million. $63 million of that is used to fund operations and current debt service obligations. $111 million of that are to fund our ongoing capital program as well as future debt service payments. And then $110 million of that is reserved or restricted for specific uses, with the driver being our Platte Valley Water Project. Total user fee for both water and wastewater are up 7.5% on a year-to-date basis, mainly driven by an increase in consumption of 12%. Operating revenues are down $734,000 compared to this time in 2024, and there's really two things going on there. While it's really good that we have the cash on hand that was illustrated previously, the earnings on interest is less this year than it was last year. Last year around this time, we peaked out in the 4 to 5% range. We're not seeing those same guaranteed rates, so interest revenue is down, and that's impacting operating revenue. However, that's partially offset by better than expected user fee revenue due to higher consumption. On the tap fee sales, we have 342 sales on a year-to-date basis compared to 180 at the same time last year. And operating expenses for both funds remain within our plan at $17.2 million. Expenses are slightly higher than the prior year, though, driven by about three main factors. One is your normal salaries and wages, two, cost to treat chemicals, and then higher debt service expenses driven by where we're at in the debt obligation schedules. And then capital spending remains at $9.9 million. That's compared to about $17 million versus our budget for this year. That's driven by timing of projects and the completion of those projects, mainly on filtration-driven projects, WISE, and our water rights case. Go ahead, sir.
We'll go back to the slide.
Oh, no problem.
So I warned you of the question, 26,732 SFEs, May 31st this year. What was that number in May 31st, 2024?
Don't have it on hand, but I am going to pull that for
Oh, you don't have it? Oh,
and I'll go ahead and get that in your hand. I just got to pull a prior year report, and I can get that for you.
Okay, all right, thank you.
No problem.
I'm trying to kind of tease apart growth and climate. So kind of looking at the SFEs might give us some.
I spent a little bit of time doing the investment policy work for you, so I couldn't squeeze both of them in, but I'll deliver on that second one, not a problem.
That's fine, thank
So
you.
similar with the previous slides, this is just a visual aid showing where we're at on our revenues and our consumption. So real quick, on our consumption, we're up May this year versus May of last year, and we're also up on a year-to-date basis this year, as of year-to-date May versus year-to-date May of last year. On our billed water revenue, again, driven mainly by consumption, revenue remains up for the month and up on a year-to-date basis. And then our water and our wastewater system development fees. This is driven by our tap fees that you've seen in our previous slide. The good news, when you compare this to 24, it looks like we're on a slight rebound. This is mainly just an indicator of what the developers are thinking of in terms of their sales and closings and how quickly they're going to sell and close their homes. But we're not quite back at our 2022 levels, but we're well above 2024 and slightly outpacing 2023. So again, this is just driven by unit sales year over year.
Question?
Yes, sir.
This is for Ron, actually. Have you had any discussions with Cheddar, Latcham, about what's going on in that market or anything? Have you talked to him lately?
I haven't. This is the time of year we usually sit down with them with the budget coming. I did hear the town thinks we're going to slow down a little bit. And I'm thinking, well, maybe the town of Parker, but it doesn't seem to be happening in Castle Pines and in Lone Tree.
Yeah.
But we'll start those conversations.
Okay, thank you.
Right, so we never want to forget the outlook on the temperature and the precipitation, but on the temperature, we have an above equal chance of experiencing, higher than average temperatures, and on the precipitation, our chances of receiving those average precipitation levels are an equal chance, which kind of drives us into our next slide of the drought outlook. Specifically for our county, we're not in any immediate risk for the drought, although there are pockets in the state that do face considerable risk for droughts. Any questions?
There are very few candidates for the CFO position that have any weather background, but we'll keep looking. So.
Very good. Thank you, Jeff.
No problem.
Resolution 2025-04, North Plant Expansion, Progressive Design Build, second reading.
Right. Good evening. I'm here to present the resolution for approval of the design build project delivery method and the design build contract for the North Plant Phase 1B expansion. So you've seen this graph at the last several board meetings, but just to recap, our last master plan update showed that our wastewater flows are increasing sooner than anticipated, so we moved the North Plant expansion project up by a year so we could have the critical processes expanded by 2027 when we're showing that we'll exceed our current treatment capacity. To accelerate the project schedule, we're recommending using the design build collaborative delivery method. So instead of the traditional design bid build, where we would finish the design to 100%, put the project out for bid, and then select a contractor to construct it, design build would allow us to sign a contract with one entity made up of an engineer and a contractor. And this allows us to accelerate the schedule by having the contractor on from the beginning so they can weigh in on constructability issues early, as well as we can release pieces of the project for construction early while other pieces are still completing the design. And as you approved earlier in May, we also have our owner's advisor on board who will be representing the district's best interests and making sure this project goes as smoothly as possible. So we're planning to construct this project in 3 phases. The preliminary phase, so during the Phase 1A expansion of the North Plant, there was a scope outlined for Phase 1B, but as we've been operating the plant over the last few years, we've seen some potential bottlenecks, some opportunities for redundancy, and potential changes that may better benefit the plant in the long term. So we'll start off this phase with an alternatives analysis where we'll evaluate that original scope versus the potential changes and determine the final scope for expansion. Once we have that final scope, we'll move into 30% design. The pre-construction phase will take the design from 30 to 60%, and we'll also develop the guaranteed maximum price, or GMP. And then if we agree on the GMP, we'll move into final design and construction. So that's kind of the overall structure of the project. We also may have some early work packages, which could be long lead procurement, could be critical process improvements that are needed for capacity earlier, or it could be pieces of the scope that require less design and are easy to construct early on. And these would each have their own GMP that we'd receive for review before the main GMP for the project. So again, the construction price will not be known until we get the GMP. So for the RFP, we just requested that the design build team submit their fee through the pre-construction phase. So this gave us a price component to evaluate in addition to their qualifications, their proposed team members, and their experience on past projects.
So that's through 60% design, right? Yeah, okay.
So these were the 4 that we received, and we're recommending proceeding with Garney and Burns and McDonnell, who were the lowest fee. In addition to being the lowest fee, we also have great experience working with them on past projects. Garney, first and foremost, completed the Phase 1A expansion, so they have extensive historical knowledge of the facility, which will be very beneficial. And they've also constructed the filtration systems at each well house, and those projects have gone well. For Burns and McDonnell, we did a challenging trenchless pipeline project where we had to tunnel under Cherry Creek and a wetland area, and they did a great job on that project. And we also have them under contract right now for on-call engineering projects at both the North Plant and the South Plant. So they've done a great job on those, been very flexible, and they do a great job working with operations to make sure that the solution they come up with is easy to operate in the future.
Can you go back a slide?
Sure.
So, I mean, that's a really big range. I mean, did that trouble you at all? That Burns and Mac, I mean, they're well over 33% less than the next bid, roughly.
Yeah. We did ask them about that when we brought them in to talk to them, but they are confident that they can do the work for that price. And with our experience with them in the past, we are also confident that their expertise will deliver a high-quality project for us.
What were the others thinking? Are they just afraid of it? Or, I mean,
They like us.
The highest one had about double the hours, and so, you know, we didn't think that we could have them reduce their fee by half. But again, Garney and Burns and Mac are confident, and their prior experience with the plant does give them kind of an advantage, so.
So you feel okay about it?
Yes.
Okay.
This is kind of an off question, but since we were talking about the Douglas County Housing Partnership, which is, I don't know how many units that are going to be in there, but that is kind of a significant. Would that impact us on the North Plant in term, I mean, I know that we would have to meet the needs, and we're already ahead of where we thought we were going to be. Is this going to even push us further if that comes to fruition?
One of the things that we're going to do during the alternatives analysis, kind of revisit those projections, so that's the kind of thing that we can have them analyze during that phase.
I think it'd probably be a good idea, because if this comes to fruition, it's going to be just another thing we have to deal with.
Absolutely.
And I can put it into context too. So these units are, most of them are 1 bedroom. I think 80% are 1 bedroom, 20 or 2 bedroom. So they're more like a very small condo. Typically, they're less than half of a single family. So if they do 60, that's more like less than 30 homes coming in. So it's not as big as it sounds. Plus, they have to buy the property. They have to go through all the process. They're probably 2 or 3 years out from actually building.
Even though they're smaller, they'll each have a bathroom in them. So whatever the number of people they're going to hold in there will be an impact to a certain degree. So, yeah.
So we did reach out for feedback, both internally. Stephanie and Alex have had great experience on the projects that they've managed with Garni. I had great experience with Burns and McDonald. We also called external project references and received nothing but positive feedback from them as well. These two teams have a history of working together on projects around the country and also here locally, and they've partnered up as a joint venture for this project. So for the contract approval, even though we requested a fee through the pre-construction phase in the RFP, that fee was for the original Phase 1B scope. And so we know that's likely to change through the alternatives analysis. So we're actually recommending just signing the contract for the alternatives analysis, and then we'd bring forward an amendment for the remainder of the preliminary phase and the pre-construction phase, and then another amendment when we receive the GMP. And one benefit this would have for the district is we'd have an additional opportunity for an off-ramp after the alternatives analysis, in addition to the off-ramp option when we get the GMP. So on the request for approval slide, that's the number you'll see if you're in favor of that approach. Questions?
Any questions? See. We have a motion to adopt the resolution 2025-04.
So moved.
We have a second.
Second?
We have a second. We have a vote.
Yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Unanimous. Thank you.
Thank you, Emily.
Request for approval, early work package for Denver Basin Wells and Pipeline Project.
Good evening. So I'll be talking about the early work package for the electrical equipment. This is specifically related to the Denver Basin Well Sites Phase 2 project. A little bit of background for that project. So there's 2 new well sites. Each will provide 1 MGD. Both well sites will have 1 Arapahoe well and 1 Denver well. Currently, the Badger Gulch wells, we completed the drilling of those wells back in November. And that design for the well site and the pipeline to Ridgegate Well House is currently at 90% design and is anticipated to have a startup date of October 2026. The main reason why there's a huge gap between the completion of the design and the startup is because of the long lead times for the electrical equipment. Also part of this contract with Hazen and Sawyer is the design for Hess 3 well site, and those wells are in progress of being drilled as we speak. So to back up, to talk about the Badger Gulch well site, it's just north of Ridgegate Parkway. There will be a new raw water pipeline that connects the well site about 1 mile long. And there's also modifications that will happen within Ridgegate Well House themselves. So the early work package that we're talking about tonight specifically is for switchboards. Initially, when Hazen and Sawyer reached out to vendors, they were told that there would be a 70-week lead time. And so in order to minimize any delay in construction and startup as much as we possibly can, we decided to take the route of an early work package. So for the early work package, we released the IFB on May 22nd and then received bids on June 13th. We're also anticipating having to do this for electrical equipment for the Hess 3 well site as well later in this year. So the 3 bids that we received from Consolidated Electrical, Rexel, and Schneider, we decided to go with Consolidated Electrical just because they were the lowest bid, and we believe they'd provide the right equipment for the project.
Have we worked with those 3 before?
I believe we have, yeah. Have we worked with Consolidated Electrical before? It's Eaton products, and so we have, yeah, so we've used Eaton products at a lot of our other facilities.
Where are these being made in China?
That's a good question. I am not sure where they're being manufactured, but I do believe it's overseas somewhere, which is what's leading to the longer lead times, yeah.
For a long time, these types of equipment was made in China. I know we're trying to break away from that as a country, but we're still at the mercy of the Chinese right now.
And we can follow up on that as well.
Yep. So so far we've the contract with Hazen and Sawyer for the complete design and the engineering design services is for $444,000, and the early work package would be an additional $150,000, putting us at $594,681 total contracted to date, which is well within our approved allocated budget for this project. Any other questions?
Yeah, so these wells have been drilled, right? Is this a delay for getting these wells in production compared to when we wanted them to be in production?
No, I think this, I don't believe it is. Yeah, we finished a couple wells recently,
Yeah.
and this is the next set.
So you're not feeling pressure to get them in service? Well,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm always feeling pressure.
I was going to say that wasn't a fair question,
Yeah.
was it? No.
No, I think, it'll be nice to get these on board. I mean, I think, Alex, each one's an MGD, if I remember right,
Yeah.
which is a suspension water that gives us that breathing room. But we do have Ruder S, and we have, our water treatment plant. So sooner they come online, the better, but it's fallen in the original schedule.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, make a motion
Any other
to approve.
questions? Any questions? Okay. Do we have a motion?
Moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Do we have a vote?
Yes?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Unless there's other things to be brought to the table, I'm going to call for an adjournment.
When it's
All right,
said and
thank you.
done, there's nothing left to say or do.